exciting EVA tomorrow.
With the Columbus laboratory successfully up and running on the International Space Station, Belgian OasISS astronaut Frank De Winne will be the second European astronaut to spend 6 months on the ISS. In May 2009, he'll fly with Russian cosmonaut Roman Romanenko and Canadian Space Agency astronaut Robert Thirsk on a Russian Soyuz spacecraft to the ISS. His backup for the trip will be Dutch ESA astronaut André Kuipers.
Well, my role on board the ISS will be, of course, to conduct all the experiments for the benefit of the European scientists, the ESA experimental program. Besides that, I will have a lot of operational tasks as well. And for the last months of my stay, I will probably be the commander of the International Space Station.
Apart from carrying out an extensive scientific program during the 6-month period that he spends in space, De Winne will be operating the station robotic arm and the Japanese robotic arm after the docking of HTV, the cargo module from Japan. In preparation for all these activities, De Winne has been going through an intensive and long period of training.
Of course, that's important that you train a long time because, first of all, the station is very complex, but also microgravity, learning to work in microgravity is something that you learn through training.
De Winne is no newcomer to this training and working in microgravity. He was the backup for French ESA astronaut Leopold Eharts, who installed Columbus to the ISS in February 2008. De Winne has trained on the shuttle, the ISS, on Columbus and the ATV. As a result, he's already very familiar with these spacecraft. Moreover, he spent 12 days in space on board the ISS in 2002 for ESA and Belgium's OasISS mission. During this mission, Frank De Winne carried out a complete package of scientific experiments, technology demonstrations and education activities. While all this experience will clearly serve him well, each time an astronaut goes into space, his body must readjust to the new and different atmosphere. His present training is aimed at both preparing him physically for this, but also for practicing the experiments he'll have to carry out aboard the ISS. Experiments that often have important applications back on Earth.
Basically what we are trying to do, or what the scientists are trying to determine, is if microgravity influences our perceptions of parallel lines. Orientation is something that is very important also here on Earth, how people can orient themselves. Often elderly people have problems with that, and by trying to measure the processes also in microgravity that are happening in our brain, scientists try to determine if they can find also cures for diseases here on Earth.
While in orbit, De Winne will have to again get used to the microgravity environment where even the simplest everyday functions, such as sleeping, takes on a very different perspective aboard the ISS.
It's important to be fixed somewhere. It does not necessarily need to be on the wall, it can be on the floor, it can be on the ceiling, but you have to be fixed somewhere, and that's actually the function of the sleeping bag. Not so much to keep you warm, because it's not cold in the space station, but to fix you somewhere so that during the night you don't float away and bump your head against something.
To spend such a long period in the space station, De Winne has to be in excellent physical shape and maintain this during his 6 months up there.
Yeah, for short-term missions, it's not so important to do the exercise. You don't have so much time to lose your muscle mass and bone density. But on long-duration missions, you have to start, after the first week, you have to start straight away in order not to be very fragile when you come back on Earth. So you need to train every day, exercise, train your muscles and put pressure on your bones.
With the Columbus laboratory in space, Europe now has a very real long-term investment in the ISS. Frank De Winne's long-term stay there is the second of many for Europe's astronauts. This marks a new phase in human exploration for Europe, which will ultimately see European citizens on the Moon and Mars.